Hi, David. Just for the people at home, explain who you are and what your job is and how it works.
I'm David Humphreys. I've got a consulting room in the surgery where you are in Church Street, and I'm a psychotherapist. And what I do is I work with people across the age range, but with a lot of young people. And they come to me in various ways. Sometimes they refer themselves, sometimes they come by GPs, sometimes they come from parents or whoever. And what I do is I work with those young people to help them to try to sort out issues. Some of them are fairly challenging issues for them, and some of them are more straightforward.
Now, for the viewers that don't know, I'm GP at Church Street, and we set up the Young People Service a couple of years ago now, working together to try and improve the health outcomes for young people in Bishop Stortford. Can you explain how you fit into that service for us?
What happens at the moment is that I've been involved in this from the beginning, and that's really been important to me, and I really enjoy that. I supervise what are called link workers, which are the social prescribers, and those are the people who take referrals from people like you and other general practitioners in this area and in Sawbridgeworth, I think, in Much Adam. And what those link workers do is when I see them for supervision, they bring those issues to me. But I also offer a kind of a backup service. So if issues come up that they're concerned about with a young person, they can contact me and we can talk it through. All of which is absolutely confidential. And I think that's really important to emphasise that.
And tell me, you've been a therapist for a long time. Are you allowed to tell us how long you've been working as a therapist for?
I've been working as a therapist for 30 years.
30 years. So would you say that you have seen most things that young people come in with? Yeah. Would you say there's anything shocks or surprises you anymore? Would you say you could not? Is there anything you couldn't hear?
No, there's not anything I couldn't hear. I've heard it all. I've actually worked with young people since since I was 21, 22, and that is actually quite a long time ago.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Viewers.
Yes, and so I think that in a way there isn't anything that people can bring that I won't have heard, but also the way that they bring it is going to be unique to them. So it's not, I think, oh, here we go again. It's, this is your own unique experience. It may be one that other people have had in similar circumstances, but it's that idea that this is unique to them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is so important to hear. Each young person has a different, or each person actually have their own narrative, their own story, but a lot of the themes are familiar to us. And I know that certainly working in primary care during the COVID, so as GP, we've seen a lot of themes that have come out around eating disorders.
Yep.
Have you seen that?
I've seen that. Part of my background is working in the eating disorder service and being trained to work with people with eating disorders. And yes, I've seen that. Yeah. In a very uncertain situation, one of the things you can end up being able to control in your life is eating. Yeah. So in a way, it's not a surprise. We've lived with a massive amount of uncertainty, particularly for young people, in the last 2.5 years.
Yes, yes. And have you seen any other patterns coming out, emerging from? I mean, we were wondering about gaming, whether gaming addiction had gone on the increase since, or have you not seen that? What's any other themes you've seen?
I think
since
it's
COVID?
interesting. I think the gaming gaming I think often fulfills a very important function, and because I think it fulfills an important function, and because I think during the pandemic, it was a way of actually often keeping in touch with people. Your mates might be down the road. If you're on your Xbox, you can actually keep on talking with your mates. But I think the risk is it then can become a very attractive place to kind of almost retreat to. Yeah. Again, particularly if things are difficult at home, if things are difficult with family, people were pushed together not necessarily through choice.
Yeah.
And I think that has created in some families, family tensions, relationship tensions, which, you know, I think young people have had to find different ways of trying to manage that. And I think gaming is one of the ways that they have done that.
One of the things that we are big on in medicine as doctors is confidentiality. But I think we need to be honest with young people about when we would break confidentiality and why we would break confidentiality. So, I mean, I think it's, from my perspective, it's quite clear about around safeguarding, but these are big words. What do they mean? What do they mean to you? What do they mean to me, I suppose?
Yeah. And for me, what they mean is, and I always say this to young people from the outset, I'm clear with them. There might be a set of circumstances where I couldn't keep that confidentiality, but one of the undertakings I always give them that I will be clear with them if I can't, and I'll be clear with them about why I can't, and I'll be clear with them about what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, that's about taking them with me rather than then thinking I'm just acting, you know, this guy's just going to go off and he's going to talk to, and I don't know what he's going to. And I'll tell people, young people, this is what I'm going to say. And the circumstances are where I come to believe they pose a significant risk to themselves. That's primarily, and that might be in terms of thinking about killing themselves. It might be thinking about hurting themselves in a quite a severe way. And it's me having to sometimes make judgments about how serious they are. Because young people get to a place where they think, sometimes they say, I don't want to go on. I've enough of this is driving me nuts. And actually, that doesn't mean they want to kill themselves. It just means that's the way they feel.
Yeah.
And I often can't see a clear future. And I think over the pandemic, that's been even more difficult.
I think as well, from our perspective, we would be very keen if we thought someone was being abused as well, particularly somebody under the age of 18. And that abuse can come in all sorts of different guises. But again, we would talk to the young person. And I think what's important is sometimes people are telling us things because they do want us to disclose, they do want us to come out and support them, they do want us to protect them. And I'm really happy to take that role on, actually, as for them. So the people we would disclose to, I suppose, would be the police if we thought it was a criminal act that was happening. And I guess we would, but not about the person, if it was something being done to that person rather than anything else, and social services. And I have done that, and you and I have both worked on a case where we did that very successfully, and the young lady in question she did not want us to disclose, but we did. It's quite an emotional journey we went on with her, but she did in fact get really well, and she's done really well since that happened. And a lot of things changed for the better because we did take that responsibility for her. And so I don't regret it, but I know that she would rather she would have done anything, I think.
I think that's because certainly in my experience of working with young people, they're fearful about the consequences. You know, they continue to live in this family, in this situation. I think they're really fearful. And I think it's always important to reassure them that the people that we will share this with are people who are very skilled and expert. They understand that. They understand that, you know, once something has been disclosed and shared with the police or the children's services, then they understand where those anxieties can be and there are ways of addressing that. I think that's what's really, and that's what I would want to reassure people.
I mean, you and I have been known to talk all day, every day about all sorts of different, so we could go on about this forever. But if I brought this to a close, and I'd kind of like to bring it on a positive note, do you see people getting better from really bad places? Do you feel that therapy has, I mean, obviously you're not going to say no, are you? You're not going to say, it's rubbish. But do you, I mean, I've seen very unwell people get better. I've seen people who I honestly thought might not be with me in a year's time, and they've lived happy and healthy and full lives. And I really want to end that to say, if you get the right help at the right time with the right people, I think these
Yeah.
things can be turned around. Would
Yeah.
you agree?
I would absolutely agree with that, and that is consistent with my experience across the 3 decades I've already mentioned. I've seen people, I've worked in an adolescent unit where, I think we calculate about 90% of the young people who we had worked with went on to live okay, happy, healthy lives, and even the ones who didn't actually lived better lives. So I want to say that therapy works. Yes, of course I would say that, but I also think there's a lot of young people out there who would confirm that.
And and just to finish this off, I think we are totally there for you. This is not about me and David. This is not about what we think about the world. It's about you. It's about making sure you as a young person are at the centre of everything that we're doing. And later on, we're going to meet Ben and Ed and all the other teams and Jake from Thurston. We're all trying to do the same thing, which is essentially help guide you through what can be a very difficult part of your life and get you to the other side of it, so that you can then start to make your own choices about life when you leave home or go to uni or whatever it is you want to do with your life, get a job. But we are here to help through this period. I mean, for me and you, we go much older as well. Cradle to grave,
we do.
primary kids, cradle to grave. But in this particular context today, it's about we are here. Don't suffer in silence. We can help. It doesn't necessarily cost money. We can find a way. We can find a way around everything, basically.
And I also think it's that to reassure young people that they do have control of the process. The process doesn't run away with them. It's important to me to feel this is a journey, a collaborative journey. It's not me simply taking over and taking control.
That's right. Yeah, same for me. Same for me. Come and see us.